I'm live, yeah? I can't tell if he's giving me thumbs up or wait a minute. Thumbs up, okay. We're good to go? All right. Good evening. Welcome to the RSU5 annual budget meeting. Tonight is Wednesday, May 15th, 2024. We are here at the Freeport High School Gymnasium. And we will get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is actually up on the wall behind you there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so as we've done in the last few years, I'm going to start the evening with a quick overview, a few remarks around the annual budget for this year and the process, and then we will get into the nitty-gritty. So welcome to the RSU5 annual budget meeting for the FY25 board-adopted budget. The RSU5 Board of Directors has worked diligently to develop a budget that is focused on the goals of the district and the needs of the students while remaining responsive to the needs of the taxpayers. The Board of Directors' proposed operating budget for FY25 is $41,612,460, which is an overall expenditure increase of 6.48%. The passage of our budget by the voters is critical to continuous improvement in our district. Financial resources were reallocated or reduced to lessen the tax impact while still strengthening the educational services for our students. The board used $900,000 of the undesignated fund balance to reduce the tax implications from this budget. In addition, a projected $209,000 in interest income and $79,000 in child development services billing was used to further reduce the impact to the taxpayer. The estimated mill rate tax impact on the three towns is 6.7% in Durham, 4.61% in Freeport, and 6.11% in Pownell. The first budget priority is to maintain current programming. This includes negotiated salary and benefit increases for current staffing levels and the cost of the main paid leave benefits, which equates to 96% of the additional funding requested. In addition, we're requesting the continuation of a special education teacher at Mass Landing School, which was previously funded through grants and will now be included in the regular budget. Maintaining class sizes according to the RSU5 board policy is our second priority. In order to meet the needs of students for the upcoming school year, we're requesting an additional classroom teacher at the Mass Landing School. We are also requesting a half-time science teacher here at Freeport High School to not only maintain small class sizes, but to enhance course offerings for students. The third priority of the budget is to increase student support. Durham Community School is requesting a half-time guidance counselor to further meet the needs of students. The Mass Landing School is requesting an assistant principal to provide support for students and staff due to the increased enrollment and student needs. In addition, Freeport Middle School is asking for funding for additional work days for their existing assistant principal to be responsive to the expanded student needs. Our fourth priority is to support the district infrastructure to provide a safe learning environment. We request continued funding of the district's capital improvement plan and the Freeport High School tennis and high school track and field reserve accounts. Further, we are planning to replace a bus to maintain our fleet as well as security upgrades in our schools. We are asking to adjust the district computer technician position to a network system administrator to ensure that our infrastructure is secure for students and staff. Finally, we are requesting funding to replace technology devices and equipment which were previously purchased through COVID funding, which is no longer available. In addition, we are proposing the establishment of non-lapsing article reserve accounts, which will allow us to maintain a contingency outside of local taxation that will allow our district to react to facility and enrollment-driven needs throughout the fiscal year. We will be utilizing undesignated fund balance in order to lessen the burden to the taxpayer, while at the same time slowly reducing our undesignated fund balances to acceptable levels. These reserve accounts include Article 1, regular instruction, Article 2, Special Education, Article 5, Student and Staff Support, and Article 8, Transportation. The Board of Directors is appreciative of the continued support our schools receive from the residents in this district. We believe this budget will allow us to continue to focus on building student-centered learning environments that support student growth and promote post-secondary planning and aspirations, all aimed at improving the overall achievement and success of all of our students. This evening, we are asking for your support for the budget presented before you. I will now ask the superintendent to call for nominations of the moderator to begin the annual budget meeting. Thank you.
Our first action is to open nominations for the election of a moderator.
I nominate Gregory M.
Second.
Are there any other nominations from the floor? I close nominations. All in favor of Gregory M. to serve as moderator of this meeting, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. Gregory M. is elected moderator. I'll ask the moderator to come forward. So please raise your right hand. Do you, Gregory M., swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Maine, so long as you shall continue to be a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge to the best of your abilities the duties incumbent on you as moderator of the Regional School Unit 5 budget meeting on May 15th, 2024, according to the Constitution and laws of the state of Maine?
I do. Thank you, Superintendent Scarapa, and thank you everyone for showing up tonight and participating in this budget meeting process. My name's Greg M. again, and my first order of business is to swear in the ballot clerks, and I'll represent to the meeting that shortly before the meeting I met with the ballot clerks out in the lobby, and they took an oath that was very similar to the one I just took, and they signed the oath too. If anybody is uncomfortable with that and wants me to swear them in again, I'm more than happy to, but it's just a matter of efficiency. So seeing no objection, we'll consider the ballot clerk sworn in. The next order of business is to set the rules of procedure. I'm going to use the Maine Moderator's Manual as a guide for this meeting. This is the guide that most moderators use for all town meetings and school budget meetings throughout the state. Is there any objection to those rules for rules of procedure? Okay, seeing none, it'll be that way. By law, a person who's not registered to vote in the district is not permitted to speak at the meeting without consent of 2/3 of the voters present. However, we may have some school administrators here who are not registered voters in the towns, who may be needed to answer questions or provide information regarding the budget tonight. This is not for them to speak in favor or against a motion. If they wanted to do that, I'd take that up separately, and so we're not approving that right now, but can I get just the general consensus of the meeting to allow non-voters who are administrators to speak, address the meeting, to provide information and answer questions? Okay, seeing none, that will be it. And just as a big picture overview, this is actually not a school board meeting. This is a meeting of the legislative body of the RSU, which is the voters. And the job of this legislative body is to approve a budget, a school budget for the next year, and that budget will be voted on June 11th at your local polling places, and which voters will vote yes or no on the budget that's approved tonight. The agenda for this meeting is the articles in the warrant that they distributed out front. Let me just remind people, if you are a registered voter and you should have checked in out front with your clerk, and they should have given you a colored card, and we're going to do most of our voting by show of cards. Okay, so if anybody hasn't done that, you should jump out there and do it. Briefly, this is how we'll go. I'll take up each article in turn. After I read the article, I'll look for a motion and a second. Once I get those, I'll open the floor up for discussion. Are we recording this? Yeah, okay. So because we're recording it, I'm going to ask anybody who's speaking to come up to the microphone so you can be heard here and that you'll be recorded for the record. If it's a simple motion or a second, you don't have to come up. When I recognize you, state your name and town. Keep all your remarks relevant to the motion that's on the floor. And I'm gonna reserve any other procedural comments and take them up as needed. However, I will say one thing. Sometimes discussion on a motion goes on for a while. I have no authority to stop discussion and call for a vote, but you do. So sometimes if we're hearing the same thing over and over again, or we're just tired of talking about it, you can make a motion. It's called, I move the question, I call for a vote, or just say, I'm tired of this and can we stop talking and vote? This is an extraordinary motion, so it requires 2/3 of a vote, okay? 2/3 majority vote, okay? But just keep that in mind, it's a nice tool to have. After discussion, we vote on the motion. I'll declare the results, and then we'll move on. Let's see. Got nothing else. Cynthia Alexander is going to take our minutes tonight, and I think I got everything set. So let's launch into this warrant. Okay, Article 1. To see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for regular instruction, the school board recommends $18,390,052. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. So Article 1's been moved and seconded, so I'm going to open up the floor for discussion. If there's any comment or questions, please come up to the mic, state your name and town, and speak away. Or not. Yes, sir.
My name is Peter Antoini. I live in South Freeport on South Freeport Road. So when we speak about the Article 1, which is primarily salaries, I'm assuming that you've included the $2.5 million additional requests that you've identified as resources to put in that number. But I'd like to ask some general questions about the overall thing that ties to salaries. So on page 5, you show in the brochure, you project that there will be 2,094 students attending the RSU in 2025. And this number was 1949 in 2020. And the question is, I've looked at the state numbers that they're estimating, and I'm not quite sure where the 2094 came from. So that's an open question. You can address it somebody can address it maybe in the discussion. The second component is on page 6, you have historical special education counts, and you show that in 2023 you had 276 people, and in 2020 you had 297 people, and the percentages are like 14.5 and 13.7, but you're talking about numbers that are 1946 as the base and 2084, so those percentages don't seem valid to me. Maybe I'm not understanding how they're calculated. The other element is on page 8, you show that 43% of the total budget is regular instructions, which is what we're talking about right now, which is warrant 1. Underneath the breakdown of salaries and increases, I was just wondering if there's been any review of the number of students in classes, because it appears that we're proceeding down, and I've been following the class size for probably 15 years. And so now we're down to 17 and 16 people, the students per class size. So instead of increasing spending, could we, and adding the $2.5 million, could we increase class size as a potential offset to that? And then the last one is, there are, in your page 8, you try to do a summary, or you're trying to identify that Freeport is not as expensive as it appears to be, because you're comparing it to other towns, and you're putting in numbers like, oh, Falmouth spent $20,000 for education and other situations like that, and you can look at page 8. The question, though, the question is, though, you don't include the data about how much Freeport makes, you know, what's the average household income, as opposed to what Falmouth makes, or what Yarmouth makes, or, you know, Cumberland makes. So you're talking about, you know, a household income in Freeport, average household income of about $135,000. You're talking in Cumberland, for example, you're talking household income of $165,000. So when you compare the budget and the spending in Freeport as compared to Cumberland, and you say, oh yeah, they spend more money. Well, they have more money. So I'm just, you know, there's something about the whole brochure that I'm not sure that the board actually talks to people that are not, that do not have a vested interest in the education system. So do I object to the 6.48 increase in the budget? I do object to that. So thank you.
Thank you. So there's a lot of questions there. I'm not sure if you care to address any of them.
I'm not sure I wrote all of them down, but I did grab a few. The first one around enrollment. So our estimation for the upcoming year is based on the current students in the system, the ones that we know are moving in based on pre-K and kindergarten registrations received to date, and then just other information we have around folks that are coming in and out. The state, as far as I know, does not provide an estimate for next year. They provide information on their website around how many students are actually in the district on October 1 of any given year. So that, hopefully that answers the enrollment question. Class size, so the board put a class size policy in place, gosh, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. And we haven't changed that class size. We haven't reduced the class sizes from that time. And it varies based on the age. Obviously, the smallest class sizes are in our littlest students in the pre-K, kindergarten age groups, and then the largest are in our high school, are in our high school classes. So we haven't changed that policy. We're staying consistent with that policy. And you can, I think this is probably what you were referencing in the handbook. Page 3 shows the different sizes of classes. The only sort of caveat to that is, of course, in Pownell, where there's just one per grade level, so that there's as many kids as are in that grade level in those classes. Cohort around the different towns that we compare ourselves to. We use this cohort for everything that we do. They're Cumberland, 51, SAD 51, Falmouth, Yarmouth, they're in there, but also Brunswick, Topsom, Gray, New Gloucester. So it's a variety of towns that surround us. It's historically who we have compared ourselves to, and where most of our recruiting comes in this area, because we're sort of all in that same geographic area. So that's how those towns were selected. You know, certainly some have a higher average household income, and some have a lower. We're sort of in the middle, if I recall correctly, in our cohort. I don't know, special education. So I think those percentages are directly what we report to the state for students that are identified as special education, receiving special education services. I'm not quite sure I understood what the question was around that, although I can tell you, like, those are the students that are, because to be identified, it's a process, and those are the students that are our process, or have gone through that process and are identified as needing special services. That's
okay. All right, thank you. Is there any other discussion, questions, comments on Article 1? Okay, a little extra pause here. Okay, seeing none, we're going to vote by raising our colored cards. So all those in favor of approving Article 1 in the recommended amount, so signify. Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. So Article 1 passes in the amount recommended. Article 2, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for special education, the school board recommends $5,870,507.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on Article 2? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of Article 2 in the amount recommended? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 2 passes in the amount recommended. Article 3, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for career and technical education, the school board recommends $289,668.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on Article 3? Okay, all those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. So Article 3 passes in the amount recommended. Article 4, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for other instruction, the school board recommends $1,034,849.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Would anybody like to? Yes, sir.
Peter Anzolini again. So the question around Article 4 is other instructions. So can you give us some examples of what the other instructions are? Most of our budget comes out of Article 1 and Article 2. So it just, if you can answer that question for me.
Yeah. Michelle?
I'm going to throw this one to Kelly because she, she knows where everything is in the articles.
So other instruction covers all of the co-curricular and athletic activities for the district.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor of Article 4 and the amount recommended? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 4 passes in the amount recommended. Article 5, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for student and staff support, the school board recommends $4,371,246.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Would anybody like to make any comments on Article 5? Okay, all those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 5 passes in the amount recommended. Article 6, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for system administration, the school board recommends $1,179,440.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on Article 6?
So you mentioned at the beginning that you were picking up a new school bus. Is that where it fits, or is that a capital expense? That's a capital expense. Okay. So what kind of technology are we using to assist in the learning process? That's what I assume that is, what's in that article.
System,
No? Okay.
System administration is principals, superintendent, Kelly?
So system administration actually covers the board function, the superintendent's function, and the business office function of the district, which also includes all of the legal fees, all of the audit fees, any of those types of things. The principal's salaries in the administration is in the next article.
Okay, so we originally, or we still have a principal for the 5 schools that we have, and then the superintendent structure?
We have 6 schools. but
6
yes.
schools, okay. Because originally, the intent of the RSU was to consolidate. So we haven't really taken that management structure out of the RSU still, correct? Or am I wrong?
The number of principals and buildings is the same as when the board was, when the RSU was created.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other comments, discussion on Article 6? Okay, all those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 6 passes in the amount recommended. Article 7, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for school administration, the school board recommends $2,342,210.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on Article 7? Okay, all those in favor of Article 7? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 7 passes in the amount recommended. Article 8, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for transportation and buses, the school board recommends $1,586,682.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on Article 8? Yes, sir.
You mentioned in the beginning that, I'm sorry, Peter Anzuini again. You mentioned in the beginning that you were looking to put a new bus in. So is that the maintenance or is that where the purchase happens?
So transportation and buses, this is the line item, this is the article
Okay.
that bus would be.
So there was a discussion last year, I believe, about the type of bus that was going to be included. Has any decision around, there was an EV bus and a diesel bus and a gas bus, and so what does that include?
So it's not an EV bus. I know that's something that we haven't gotten to because the cost of those are still are prohibitive at this point.
Okay.
I don't know if it's diesel or natural gas. Maybe Jeremy knows or Jean knows. Yeah, I guess we don't know,
Okay.
but it won't be an EV bus yet.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Any other discussion on Article 8? Okay, all those in favor of Article 8? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 8 passes in the amount recommended. Article 9, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for facilities maintenance. The school board recommends $5,139,408.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on Article 9? Okay, all those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 9 passes in the amount recommended. Article 10, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for debt service and other commitments, the school board recommends $1,111,064.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on Article 10? Okay, all those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 10 passes in the amount recommended. Article 11, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for all other expenditures, the school board recommends $185,334.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on Article 11? Okay, all those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 11 passes in the amount recommended. The next three articles are articles to raise revenues to support the budget. So Article 12, to see what sum the regional school unit will appropriate for the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12, as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, and to see what sum the regional school unit will raise and assess as each municipality's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12, as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, in accordance with the Maine Revised Statutes, Title 20A, Section 15688. The numbers are set forth in two columns. The numbers on the left are the state appropriation for essential programs and services, the basic education. The amounts on the right are the amounts that each town must raise for the RSU to qualify to receive state subsidy. There's a statutory explanation printed below in italics. I'm happy to read that, but I'm going to opt not to unless somebody would like me to. Any one person? Okay. Article 12. Is there a motion on Article 12?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on Article 12? Yes, sir.
Point of clarification. So in Durham, we've got $9 million sitting on the town side appropriated, right? And then we have $3 million on the school side. So does that mean that the state is actually putting in the $6 million difference?
Yes,
Okay.
that's the subsidy from the state.
Yeah, if you take the big numbers at the bottom, the difference between 26.6 and 19.5 is the amount of state subsidy. Any other discussion on Article 12? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 12 passes as written. Article 13, to see what sum the regional school unit will raise and appropriate for the annual payments on debt service previously approved by the regional school unit voters for non-state funded school construction projects or non-state funded portions of school construction projects, in addition to the funds appropriated as the local share of the regional school unit's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12. The school board recommends $121,247.63. Again, there's a statutory explanation that I won't read unless somebody would like me to. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on Article 13? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 13 passes in the amount recommended. Article 14, by state law, this is required to be done by written ballot, and we'll talk about the procedure for that after we discuss Article 14. This is to see what sum the regional school unit will raise and appropriate in additional local funds. The recommended amount is $12,965,830.54, which exceeds the state's essential programs and services allocation model by a recommended amount of $13,087,234.53 as required to fund the budget recommended by the school board. And the next paragraph, the school board gives its reasons for exceeding the state's essential programs and services funding model, because the state's essential programs and services funding model is a minimum model to support education in grades pre-K through 12. RSU number 5 provides additional funds to support lower student-teacher ratios and additional co-curricular activities in addition to complete educational programs for all of our students. Again, a statutory explanation. Is there a motion on Article 14?
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion on Article 14? Okay, seeing none, we're going to proceed to vote. Are there any clerks in here? Okay, so the ballot box is over there. I think the process is going to be, and I defer to the clerks because they're always in charge, I think they're going to come out and your colored card, they're going to punch a hole in your colored card and give you a yes/no ballot. That way we know that everyone gets one ballot. Okay, so I will just allow the clerks to distribute ballots, maybe? Or do you want people to come up there? Okay. Kelly wants us to form a line, so let's do that, and we'll go up there and vote, and the meeting will be at ease while we vote.
You're up in Lincoln next week.
I think it's next Thursday, but I can't remember. I have a lot of driving next week.
It's a long way. It's a long way.
And I'd be fine with it. The thing up north of Bangor, deer and the moose,
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah. Especially when you hit that, like, you know, like to one.
Right.
There's enough.
And I was driving last night home, and like I passed several deer just standing on the side of the road. I'm like, oh, no.
So how long does it take you to get from like Fulton you ended to get home? How long
I
did
was
you
like,
drive
I think it was like 3.5 hours.
What time did you get out?
I got home a little after midnight, so we got down. We got done around minus 3.5, 8:30ish. It wasn't.
You could stay over. It's like I would rather drive
Yeah,
like
but
up
then,
like you
then I
do,
have to
like
drive the next morning to work. And, yeah, I always try to get home.
I don't blame you. I guess unless we had two, maybe the same day.
Yeah. I have, and I can't even remember the towns. 31 and 41, like LaGrange.
Yeah, the rain,
Yeah, I have them on Monday and Tuesday.
Wow.
So that's fine.
Well, a little bit closer than
Yeah, Holton is the farthest. One of our other tournaments is going up to Southern Oaks, which is up to Dyer Brook, which, and I tell her I passed Dyer Brook on my way to Holton. I had an interesting drive home. As soon as I got on the highway in Holton, going south, I realized that I should have stopped for gas in Holton. And I'm like, the next one is 35 miles. So I'm like, do I go 10 miles south, go to Smyrna, turn around?
And will the gas station go?
Yeah, I did. Fortunately, your phone tells you all these things, and I made it. It was good, but I don't like it when my gas light is on.
No, I don't. And there, it's not like there's a lot of traffic.
Right. Yeah. There's. Yeah.
I remember when the interstate, like, and Old Town, there was nothing. You had to get on Route 2 or whatever. That was really cool. Driving it.
And now it's like, oh, we can go 70.
Oh,
We can go 75.
I don't think someone wants you. Let's just keep going. Something else.
Yep. They still working on that? Okay, is there anybody? Oh, we do have a few last voters. Yeah. Okay, is there anybody who wants to vote who hasn't voted? Last call. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to close the voting now and ask the ballot clerks to count the ballots, please. Okay, thank you for your patience. Come back to order. The results of the vote are 50 yes, 12 no, so Article 14 passes in the amounts recommended. Article 15, to see what sum the regional school unit will authorize the school board to expend for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024 and ending June 30, 2025, from the regional school unit's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, from local funds for non-state funded school construction debt service, additional local funds for school purposes under the Maine Revised Statutes Title 20A, Section 15690, unexpended balances, tuition receipts, state subsidy, and other receipts for the support of schools. The school board recommends $41,500,460.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on Article 15? Thank you. Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 15 passes in the amount recommended. So Articles 1 through 15, that is what is going to be voted on June 11th. And the rest of these articles are things that the legislative body approves. And so while we have you here, we try to take care of them. So Article 16, to see if the regional school unit will appropriate $220,276 for adult education and raise $112,000 as the local share, with authorization to expend any additional, incidental, or miscellaneous receipts in the interest and for the well-being of the adult education program.
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion on Article 16? Yes, sir.
I'm Peter Anzuini again. I guess I have to show my ignorance. So the 112,000 we've had for as long as I remember. I mean, it went from 87,000 to 112,000 and it's there. So, but we actually spend 220,000 for adult ed, and the only thing you'll see on the line, you'll see 112,000. So I don't quite understand why we don't see the 220.
So the difference between, the difference between the numbers, they raise from fees for their services. So it's not just, so this is adult education, and that's what the $112,000 covers, but community programs also offers a variety of other things that collect camps, sports, and so the difference,
Right.
I always
So
look
the
at Kelly to make
220
sure I'm giving an accurate answer, but
So the 220 is really what is spent. The 112 is what the town or the school board component is. Thank you.
puts towards it, right, and they raise the rest. Yep.
Thank you. Any other comments, discussion on Article 16? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 16 passes as written. Article 17, shall the school board be authorized to, 1, establish a regular instruction reserve fund to pay unanticipated regular instruction costs, 2, to transfer $190,000 from available fund balances to the regular instruction reserve fund, and 3, expend from the regular instruction reserve funds as needed in the discretion of the school board.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on Article 17? Okay, all those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 17 passes as written. Article 18, shall the school board be authorized to establish a special ed reserve fund to pay unanticipated special education costs, transfer $450,000 from available fund balances to the special education reserve fund, and 3, expend from the special education reserve fund as needed in the discretion of the school board.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on Article 18? We should give you your microphone.
Thank you. I'll try not to be a pain in the you-know-what. So number 18 is the question. So we have, in the budget that we currently have approved, $41.6 million, we have $450,000 for miscellaneous. That's really what that says.
No.
Okay.
So these numbers in Articles 17 through 21 are not money that's included in that number. These are, and they're not being raised through taxes. What we're doing is, in the undesignated fund balance, we are designating it into certain, so we're taking from the general savings account and saying, okay, we're going to put 190 into regular instruction, and we're going to put 450 into special education. So instead of raising more than we think we need, just in case, we now have these designated reserve accounts. So if there was something that unanticipated came up during the year, we could use these funds instead of raising the taxes when we don't know if we need them or not.
Yeah, I mean, you're in effect holding money aside for specific things, because in your 41.6 million, you already have built in that you're going to move your savings account or the reserve accounts to certain levels. So then you're going to take those reserve accounts and move them into these other areas.
No. So the 41.6 is the expenditure, like how much we are authorized to spend.
Right.
This is separate from that. This is money that's already in the savings account, and we're just going from general savings to special education savings.
Okay, so the 41.6 doesn't have anything to do with your savings account or reserve account?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion or questions on Article 18? All those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 18 passes as written. Article 19, shall the school board be authorized to establish a student and staff support reserve fund to pay unanticipated student and staff support costs, transfer $47,500 from available fund balances to the student and staff support reserve fund, and expend from the student and staff support reserve fund as needed in the discretion of the school board.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on Article 19? Okay, all those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 19 passes in the amount as written. Article 20, shall the school board be authorized to establish a system administration reserve fund to pay unanticipated system administration costs, transfer $37,000 from available fund balances to the system administration reserve fund, and expend from the system administration reserve fund as needed in the discretion of the school board.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on Article 20? Okay, all those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 20 passes as written. Article 21, shall the school board be authorized to establish a transportation support reserve fund to pay unanticipated transportation costs, transfer $60,000 from available fund balances to the transportation reserve fund, and expend from the transportation reserve fund as needed in the discretion of the school board.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on Article 21? Okay, all those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 21 passes as written. Article 22, shall the school board be authorized to transfer up to $475,000 from available fund balances to the capital reserve fund and to expend up to $975,175 from the capital reserve fund as needed in the discretion of the school board.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion, questions on Article 22? Okay, all those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Okay, Article 22 passes as written. Article 23, shall the school board be authorized to transfer up to $35,000 from available fund balances to the track and field capital reserve fund and to expend from said reserve fund as needed in the discretion of the school board?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on Article 23? Okay, all those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 23 passes as written. Article 24, shall the school board be authorized to transfer up to $40,000 from available fund balances to the tennis court capital reserve fund and to expend said reserve fund as needed in the discretion of the school board?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion, questions on Article 24? All those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 24 passes as written. Article 25, shall the Regional Career and Technical Education operating budget, as approved by the Cooperative Board for the year beginning July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2025, be approved in the amount of $4,046,346?
So moved. Second.
Any questions, discussion on Article 25? Okay, all those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 25 passes as written. Article 26, shall Maine Region 10 Technical High School, Region 10, authorize the Cooperative Board to transfer up to $100,000 from undesignated fund balances to the Region 10 Capital Reserve Fund and delegate authority to the Cooperative Board to expend up to $100,000 of the balances accumulated in that fund to cover any excess or unanticipated costs related to a capital project required to remove and replace the bridge structure at the exterior of the Region 10 school building.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on Article 26? Okay, all those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 26 passes as written. Article 27, shall Maine Region 10 Technical High School delegate authority to the Cooperative Board to expend additional balances accumulated in the Region 10 Capital Reserve Fund from time to time on specific items or types of capital improvements or equipment as the Cooperative Board determines to be needed by Region 10.
So moved. Second.
Any questions or discussion on Article 27? Okay, all those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 27 passes as written. Article 28. In addition to amounts approved in the preceding articles, shall the school board be authorized to expend such other sums as may be received from federal or state grants or programs or other sources during the fiscal year for school and other program purposes, provided that such grants, programs, or other sources do not require the expenditure of other funds not previously appropriated.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on Article 28? Okay, all those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 28 passes as written. Article 29, shall the school board be authorized to transfer amounts exceeding 5% of the total appropriation for any cost center to another cost center or among other cost centers for the 2024-2025 fiscal year, provided that the transfer shall not be permitted to increase the authorized total school budget.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Yes, sir.
So, Article 29, if the school board can move it, is that within the warrant or is that across warrants?
It's across articles.
Okay, but, so the articles cross warrants, correct? Like education is a warrant, it has articles, and number 2, which is special ed, has articles, and they can cross each other, correct?
Yes, I think I understand your question.
Okay,
Yes.
so then it says that you can do 5%. So then the question is, why are we going through budgets? Because in effect, you're taking what we've approved and you're moving it around to whatever you need. I mean, I understand it, right? But that's really what it says. So why would I want to give you that authority when I'm asking, when you're asking me to pass a warrant?
Any other comments or discussion on Article 29? A different person?
My name is Steve Grooverman. I'm from Pownell, and I didn't want the gentleman from South Freeport to have all the glory. So I think I sort of have the same question, but where does the 5% come from? Are you already authorized to transfer amounts below that?
No. So basically what it says is, I guess I'll use an example. We had some of the smaller articles. I mean, we budget to what we think we need in every line item. So we had a retirement that we hadn't anticipated. We had to pay out some retirement benefits. It created basically a $10,000 shortage in that article. If we did not have this here, we would then have to go back to a meeting to authorize a $10,000 transfer between articles. So the 5% was really just to keep it nominal and small for small, so it basically authorizes us at the end of the year if we needed to move a little bit of money between articles to do that without having to reconvene this body.
So,
Do you mind if I add to that? So, to your question, by statute, the school board has authority to move up to 5%.
I see, that's
between
what I was
cost
trying
centers,
to
yeah.
ask. Okay, but, but it seems like, so the $10,000 example you just gave was above 5% of,
Wait, so this gives us the ability to go over 5%?
Yes, that's exceed 5%. That's how it's worded. Has been.
but up to 100%? It does seem unbounded.
Yeah, I thought it was, that gave us the ability to do up, because I didn't think we were authorized at all to move between warrants.
Yeah, you can move up to 5% out of one into others
Right.
without voter approval. To move more requires voter approval, which I think you're asking for here.
Yep,
Or you can ask during the school year as needed,
as needed.
as
Okay.
things come up.
I'm still confused, but thank you for attempting to answer it.
Okay, any other discussion on Article 29? Okay, all those in favor of Article 29? Thank you. Opposed? Okay, Article 9 passes. Article 29 passes as written. So that's the end of our business. Cynthia, do you have everything you need for the minutes? Okay. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming out and participating in this. Remind everybody that on June 11th, we vote on the school budget for next year at your local polling places, yes or no. I'd also like to thank the ballot clerks for doing a nice job tonight, and I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? Yes, sir. Yes. Sure. Okay, I think I heard you. You said, you asked if there's a minimum number of voters required to be here? Or on June 11th? It's like any other referendum vote, it's whoever shows up. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that. Okay. Okay, so there's a motion to adjourn. It's been seconded. All in favor of adjourning? Thank you. Opposed? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you again for coming. Drive safely.